There once lived a fairy storyteller called Twee. Hey y'all, that's me. I live in a magical library where almost anything can happen, and I like to tell fairy tales with a difference. I like to mix things up a little. You might say that it's a tale of twos, and you'd be right, because things that come in twos are pretty cool, so buckle up and get ready for the ride. This is a tale of a prince all dressed in red who goes riding through the forest to take some croissants to a princess with really long hair. Her name is Princess Grumpunzel. I like to call this story Princess Twee in the Enchanted Forest. Let's open the book and see what happens, shall we? A leafy plant. Weren't expecting that, were you? Once upon a time, there was a prince all dressed in red. His name was Prince Red Hood. He didn't like wearing red much, but that was just too bad. Who's in charge of the story here? That's right, me. Lovely day, smiled Red Hood. He was taking some tasty croissants through the forest to the hungry Princess Grumpunzel. It was a beautiful day and just the right time for a walk. The sun was shining and the butterflies were fluttering around the twos through the forest. Golly, I hope she likes the croissants, said the prince to herself. All of a sudden, quite out of nowhere, a great, huge, scary-looking sheep jumped out from behind a tree and said, "Bah! I'm the big bad wolf, and I'm really hungry." "What great big teeth you got!" gasped the prince in fright. He turned out not to be a terribly brave prince. They aren't always brave, you know. All the better to eat croissants with Bahad, the big bad wolf. Realizing the big bad wolf didn't want to make a meal of him, the prince felt a little braver. "Not a chance, Wooly," he laughed. There for the princess, and he turned and started to walk off towards the tower. "Well then," shouted the sheep behind him. "I'll huff and I'll puff," and he took a great big breath, and then, as he let it out, he blew all the trees down around him. Thump, thump, thump they went, all in a line like dominoes. Prince Red Hood, realizing he was in trouble, "What am I going to do?" It was obvious that Prince Red Hood wasn't very good at dealing with fairy tale buddies. Lucky for him, Fairy Twee came to the rescue. "You need to distract the sheep, of course," I told him. "I'll wave my magic wand and help you out, just because I'm nice." "Look over there," said Prince Red Hood as he pointed up to the sky. Just as an amazing unicorn flew past, a flying unicorn, on a Thursday. "Baza!" said the big bad wolf. Prince Red Hood seized the opportunity to escape. He ran quickly through the forest, jumping over the fallen down trees, and finally he arrived to the princess's castle. "Now I will climb up Rapunzel's long hair," said the prince, who was used to doing that sort of thing. But the princess wasn't at the window. In fact, he couldn't see her at all. And even when he yelled, "Rapunzel!" in his loudest voice, there was no sign of her. Luckily, Fairy Twee was there again. "You have to make do with a ladder," I said sweetly, and handed him a set of steps. "Oh, if I must," said Prince Red Hood rather ungratefully. Well, he finally reached the top of the tower. He found Princess Rapunzel singing to herself in a high-pitched voice, "La la la la!" And although Prince Red Hood cheerily yelled, "Hello!" in his best royalty voice, she didn't notice him at all. "She's totally lost in La Land," said Prince Red Hood to his faithful and stylish fairy friend, and I sighed and said, "Throw a magic snowball at her." "Really?" Prince Red Hood should have worked that out for herself, but sometimes princes need a little help figuring out what to do. So Prince Red Hood scooped some snow from the ground. There was a lot, you know, even for a sunny day, and threw a magic snowball at the princess, who immediately awoke from her daze. "Oi!" yelled the princess. "What do you think you're doing?" "Princess, I brought you some croissants," smiled Prince Red Hood. "Croissants? You brought me croissants?" said the princess. "But I asked for cookies." "Well," said Prince Red Hood, "I guess they don't call her Rapunzel for nothing." Luckily, Fairy Twee came straight to the rescue. "I think she should go back to La Land." "Zap!" I said, and I waved my magic wand. Just then and there was a loud "Bah!" from below the turret of the castle. "Excuse me," baaed the big bad wolf. "I'm really hungry here." "Well, there are plenty of croissants to go around," I smiled, taking the basket from the prince, and I found them a nice picnic spot in the forest. "You better not wolf down all those croissants at once," said Prince Red Hood to the big bad wolf with a grin. And they all lived happily ever after. The end.